It's me, Casualty CDG. I'm the co-host of this fine show and every other show. Thank you so much for joining us.
I am. Oh, are you Regis Philbin?
I'm the co-host on that show.
Okay, got it. I am the professional media and movie mastermind, the Funhouse, Drew Munhausen, and I wanted to follow up on our main topic of conversation last week, which we spent a lot of time talking about the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard. And as we had talked about that day, like it had pretty much, the FTC trial ended. It was in Microsoft's favor. Essentially, they could close. And for the past week, I kind of thought that they might actually close as soon as this week. Like I was expecting that announcement maybe today or tomorrow. We're recording this on Monday.
Yeah, that news was like a hot, fresh panini. They could have closed that ASAP. They were ready to go as far as we were concerned.
Well, and here's what happened. So I now understand this. So essentially, I told you guys last week that they had the option to close without the UK because that's the problem is the CMA in the UK had blocked it. So they could technically close without the UK and then figure things out later. However, what they've decided to do is because Microsoft had appealed the CMA's verdict that they came to. But
in the wake, what the Country Music Awards think at all? Do they have a lot of pull in England?
I knew you were going to do this, and I don't. What does the CMA stand for? I don't have it. It's the UK's Competition Appeal Tribunal. No, that's the CAT. What's this? The Competition Markets Authority. There it is. There's so many abbreviations and acronyms in these legal trials. It gets very confusing. You got CATs and CMAs and FTCs and STFUs.
I can't believe I have to explain what a cat is to you, but it's like a dog except lighter and sneakier.
Real quick before we go any further, hi, I'm Johanan. Welcome to Fresh Out the Podcast. I didn't have my microphone on, so they only heard your guys' parts.
Oh, that's really silly. I heard you.
Yeah, because my headset stole the Streamlabs audio because it's a new headset. So yep.
Just before we go live, Jahan's like, "Hey, I got a new headset. Look at my new headset." And then now here we are blaming all your tech issues on your new headset.
No. That's just introducing our guest, Jahan.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
There we go. Squared that away.
Man, that was a quick fix. You're smart.
Han, how do you feel about cats and the Country Music Awards?
I like cats. I don't like the Country Music Awards.
All right, cool. Drew, carry on.
Thank you. Let me reel this back in. Microsoft had appealed the CMA's verdict when they blocked this merger in the UK. And essentially, now the CMA and Microsoft are negotiating because of the verdict in the trial with the FTC in the States. So what happened today is that appeal process has now been paused. The formal appeal process is paused so that the CMA and Microsoft can now continue to negotiate outside of that. Which is a good thing overall, because that means that when they close, they'll be able to close everywhere. And
that sounds like corruption, is what that sounds like.
Essentially the CMA is kind of on an island right now because everywhere else around the world, essentially they said, yeah, this is fine, go ahead and do it. And now the CMA has to go, oh, well, I guess we can be swayed or something of that sort.
You need to sway us outside of official contracts. They just want a cash payout because these guys are this seems fishy. This seems corrupt as hell. I don't think it's Microsoft that needs investigating. I think it's the Country Music Awards.
So
I agree.
Actually, according to IGN's reporting, they said The hearing today not only grants both parties more time to negotiate, but is also a sign Microsoft may not close the Activision Blizzard merger before its deadline by July 18th. If the deal doesn't close tomorrow, then Microsoft may seek a temporary extension as it continues negotiating. The CMA, meanwhile, has warned Microsoft that a renegotiated deal could lead to an entirely new investigation, which hopefully that doesn't happen, because then we'd just be in for a whole lot longer of just nonsense with this. Hopefully they'll figure something out. I say hopefully.
We'll figure out how this is solved tomorrow. Tomorrow is the final day. I think, we'll have news tomorrow, one way or the other. But I think that tomorrow they'll close.
I'm interested to see. I always we do this each week, but I always just like to preface that we're just kind of Xbox guys in general here, and I got nothing against Sony. I actually have a PlayStation and I enjoy it very much, but I do look for things that can make I don't like to feed into the console wars, but I do like to see whatever Microsoft can do to elevate themselves after kind of playing behind for a long time. So I'm I don't necessarily think that this acquisition is the best thing for the industry, but I'm just interested to see how it helps or doesn't help Microsoft down the line.
I think it's good or bad for the industry, because there are already super companies that own all these publishers anyways. This is no different.
Yeah.
They've been doing this the whole time.
I mean, it's hard to say, really, because, exclusivity is typically bad, especially for smaller indie companies, but most of them don't have to be exclusive. So the bigger titles, they get more funding from bigger companies. I don't know. It's a mixed bag.
And games have a space on PC where they're really loved and kind of farmed up. And if your indie game makes waves on PC, then that's sort of how it comes to console these days. That's kind of the progression of things. So
I
don't think this is good or bad for indie games either way. I don't think this will affect indie games so much in the position they currently stand.
Yeah. I also wanted to note, so Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, tweeted yesterday on the 16th, this is what they've been saying for a long time, but it just means that they've been talking. And he said, "We are pleased to announce that Microsoft and PlayStation have signed a binding agreement to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation following the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. We look forward to a future where players globally have more choice to play their favorite games." So it just sounds like they were saying it in court. They had it in writing. They told the court this, but it sounds like they've officially worked that out with PlayStation to do that. What's interesting here is it just says a binding agreement to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation, not other Activision Blizzard titles. That doesn't mean, obviously the games that are already there are going to live there, but does this mean future Diablos and future Overwatches and things like that may be Xbox exclusive? It's possible, because this agreement only names Call of Duty.
We already saw it with the Bethesda merger, because Starfield was not meant to be exclusive. They've said that, and it is now. So, odds are it does mean that those games will not be going to other consoles. Odds are. Why buy it if you're not going to?
I could see some going and some not going. Diablo's a big title, right? I could see Diablo always being on every console, even the Switch. I could see them. Big titles like that continuing to sell, but if they make a new Spyro and make a new Crash Bandicoot, are they going to give those to PlayStation? I don't think so. I think they might share with Nintendo, but I don't think they would share those characters with the PlayStation anymore. There's been too much drama. But I do like that now that this is in writing. When we talked about this last week, I said that it's funny to me that this is all about Call of Duty. It is all about Call of Duty. And now it's in writing again a week later. This is all about Call of Duty. This whole thing. That's all it's about. It's not about any other game. It's not about any property, any title, any future, except Call of Duty. And that's mind-boggling to me, that it's Call of Duty. So what? It's a first-person shooter, sure, but you can't make another good one? Why can't people make another good first-person shooter?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm not the biggest Call of Duty guy. I get that franchise is huge and it's annual and it sells bananas. But yeah, it's strange.
I mean,
Yeah, it's
it has.
absolutely mind-boggling to me.
I mean, there are people that they're Call of Duty people, and that's what you get with that game. You have that built-in audience. They have that going for them. The game is a very polished shooter. They have that going for them. The game has great graphics. They have that going for them. And also, Black Ops, they have zombies. And that's... Black Ops Zombies is a huge deal for a lot of people. So, I mean, they have stuff going on for them. I don't think it's so much that people can't make a better shooter. It's just that it has a lot going for it, and it's a tough competitor. You know, I mean, this merger might necessitate the creation of a new game, something new. Maybe PlayStation doesn't wait for it to be yanked off of their console.
I started wondering what could PlayStation do in response to Call of Duty, because you're right. Some people are just a Call of Duty guy, but some people are just FIFA guys, and some people are just Madden guys.
Yeah.
So I think EA would be the next big franchise that somebody would buy, that the FTC would want to get involved and the CMA would want to get involved and see, should anyone be buying EA, or is EA too big?
I feel like EA and Xbox are all already kind of doing a little dry hump action.
They are a little buddy-buddy with the EA Play stuff going on, but I still, I can imagine a future where 5 or 10 years from now, PlayStation owns EA, and we're wondering, do we get Madden? Do we get FIFA? Do we get those games? Do they come to our system? Because it's sort of, I don't know what other games to compare. What else is as big as Call of Duty besides those titles? If somebody bought EA, I think that would potentially be a market problem.
Or the other thing that happens that could be in that vein, and this is all just speculation, is, we're seeing right now a summer of kind of diminishing box office returns where movies aren't making the amount of money that they once did, even just a few years ago, pre-pandemic. And video games is where the money's at right now, right? Like, these games have big budgets, but they sell like bonkers and sell millions of copies and make lots of money for studios. And so imagine if a company like Apple, who is, has been getting into the streaming space with Apple TV Plus, and they say, you know what, and we're going to buy EA so that we can get into the video game space. Or if Disney says we're going to buy EA so we can get into the video game space, or any of these big, big companies could do that. And now all of a sudden they have access to all the studios that come with EA and to produce additional content under their banner. That could happen if another big tech company decides we want to get into video games.
On Prime. Prime
can.
should buy them. Yeah. Prime has its own gaming department that I'm not sure what they're up to, but yeah, that would be a good way for them to get their foot in the door at least.
Netflix is trying to do gaming. It's everyone.
I feel like it hasn't gone well historically to try to fit in, because look at the Stadia, that had a lot going for it. You know what I mean? Low barrier to entry. It had a decent library. It just didn't have anything exclusive or new, and it was experimental, so people didn't trust it. But people have tried. It's hard. It's hard to break in. Those three companies are really the three in the name of consoles.
Those Amazon wheels are rolling so hot. That they could put a console in everyone's house if they wanted to. They've already got your address. Next time you buy something, they could just send you one of those streaming only $20 consoles and force you to be an Amazon console owner overnight.
Yeah, that would be crazy if they just literally sent everybody consoles and they had a bunch of exclusive titles.
Got wheels, man. They've got a ton of money.
Xbox sold their system at a loss because they wanted to make it up in the service cost. So maybe Amazon could do the same thing on a much grander scale, because, like you said, they already have your address. What I think should happen is I think Sony and PlayStation, or Sony and Nintendo, need to just bury the hatchet.
Don't do it.
Oh man,
don't do it.
Yeah, but they would they would end the console war.
Oh my goodness, I couldn't imagine.
It'd be crazy.
I want to see Nintendo and Microsoft bury the hatchet. That's how
they kind of already have. It sounds like from the stuff Phil says that Microsoft and Nintendo have a good relationship.
That's how I want to see this war come to an end. Is the PlayStation guys just looking around on an island alone, like, what happened?
I mean, PlayStation
We
did
used
stab
to-
Nintendo in the back, so yeah.
Look, man, PlayStation had its era. I'll never forget waiting in line and getting my PlayStation 2 and being super excited all day at school in 6th grade to come home and play it. I won't forget playing Grand Theft Auto 3 on my PlayStation 2. You know, PlayStation had its time, man.
PlayStation 2 was
DDR.
one of the greatest consoles ever made.
There was all kinds of great stuff going on PlayStation. But, you know, I'm ready for that great stuff to be over here on the Microsoft side, and we've been ready for this for a while, and it's cool, and I'm excited. And I really think this deal will close on the 18th. So I say tomorrow, but when this releases, it might be today. We'll see. I think it will close on the 18th. Right now, they're doing some what I call shady negotiation outside of normal negotiation. So Microsoft probably signs a check tonight, and tomorrow they get to go ahead and hit the OK button.
Is this a bold enough prediction to put in our predictions tab, or is this just more of a just wait and see because that is tomorrow?
I mean, it is tomorrow. I'll take a loss next week on it when we record, just because it's fun to go back to the predictions. I'll take a loss on this one.
17th, 2023. Microsoft will close.
Close on the 18th. I'm feeling it. I might be wrong.
Tomorrow?
No big deal. I'll take tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Well, that's what Drew was saying. If they don't close tomorrow, they have to
They
get
have
an
to
extension.
file an extension.
And they went into off-the-record negotiations with CMA today. So I think a check gets signed tonight and they close it tomorrow. Why go into off-the-record negotiations at the last second if you're not planning on changing your tactic?
Yeah.
This prediction has been etched in stone, and by stone I mean into Google Docs, but it's pretty much the same thing.
I think Google Docs, yeah, it is pretty much like stone, except better.
Well, I do have one other just Xbox note to talk about. I know this is an Xbox heavy lead, but rest in peace, Xbox Live. Have you heard this news yet, guys?
Yes.
Xbox Live Gold and Xbox Game Pass, they've been weaning these out for months, it feels like. At some point, you got to put it out of its misery, so I guess we're finally there.
They've officially come out with their new tiers of Game Pass and kind of what it's going to be moving forward, and it's all labeled under Game Pass. So there's the basic Game Pass core. For $9.99 a month, you get 25 plus games from Game Pass, and you get access to online multiplayer. So that's the most basic tier. Kind of like, because before, back in the day, it was you paid for Xbox Live Gold for online multiplayer, and then you paid for Game Pass for the subscription to the database. And they still have Game Pass Ultimate for $16.99 a month, and this is what gets you everything. It's basically your Xbox Live and your Game Pass and online multiplayer and everything. There's Game Pass Console for $10.99 a month, where you get hundreds of games but no online multiplayer. And then there's PC Game Pass for $9.99 a month with hundreds of games. So basically, reading these, I'm like, I don't know why you wouldn't just get Ultimate. Like, they're obviously pushing you to get Ultimate, but they've done away with Xbox Live Games with Gold is going away in September. Xbox Live Gold, and it sounds like a lot of the Xbox Live terminology will be totally phased out. It's just going to be Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah.
So the price of core is the same price as the existing Xbox Live Gold, like the basic monthly price. And then there's the console Game Pass, which is just the access to the catalog. Excuse me.
What does it mean you'll only get 25 games? Will you only get to look at 25 games from the catalog? Or do you only get to download 25? Or
I see what you're saying. So there will be 25 Game Pass games available in the core service that include Among Us, Descenders, Dishonored 2, Doom Eternal, Fable Anniversary, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Forza Horizon 4, Halo 5 Guardians, Halo Wars 2.
it's
Xbox.
There's a set list of games.
I didn't
It's
understand.
a lot of the Xbox Studios games.
Yeah. So
There's
what you're
not a lot of
saying
the indie
is
stuff.
Xbox Core, you only have access to those, and then a free game every month or something? No,
For
no free
X-
game.
Not even a free game. They're getting rid of the free game every month. That's a Games with Gold
This
thing. So
but this
that's
doesn't affect us at all because we're ultimate.
No,
users.
no. So basically, if you're an ultimate subscriber, nothing's changing.
Well,
You're keeping everything that you have.
Right now, you can still go to Games with Gold every month and download 2 free games that
Until
you will never
September.
lose, that you will always have.
And that will be
So
retired
that
as of
is what we
September.
are losing. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what we'll be losing in September. But other than that, we won't be gaining or losing anything, it sounds like.
I'm okay with that.
Here's some notes provided by good Twitter Xbox user Wario64, who said, so after 21 years of creation, the term Xbox Live will be eliminated. Xbox Live Gold changed to Xbox Game Pass Core as of September. In order to enjoy online multiplayer and various benefits, you must subscribe to the Core service. The price of Core is the same as the existing Live Gold price, $9.99 per month or $59.99 per year. All existing Live Gold subscribers will be converted to Core subscribers. More than 25 Game Pass games are available in the Core service. Games with Gold will end in September. Free games previously acquired with Live Gold will remain in the user's account, so that's worth noting. And then last, it says discounts on purchases that Game Pass subscribers received also apply to Core subscribers.
So we really are just losing 2 free games a month, but generally those games are,
Subpar.
in my opinion, subpar, not worth the download, and probably not worth the space on your Xbox anyways.
They've
not
recycled
sure
them too. There's been games that have been Xbox Live Gold,
Yeah.
games with Gold before, and then they get cycled through again. So yeah,
I'm not sure I've picked up any gems off of there for years now.
I always just
Yeah.
pop
Used to be
on
decent in the
and
beginning.
take them, and then don't download them. So like I have access to them forever, but you know.
I do the same thing. I hop on, take them, and then download them just to make sure that I took it the right way, and then I'll uninstall it or play it for like 15 seconds. So yeah, I also have this huge catalog of subpar games.
It is kind of amazing, though, thinking of a decade ago when I would look forward to the end of every month and when they would announce the Xbox Live games with Gold for the next month and what's it going to be. And every now and then you'd get like a really big month because you'd get like a really great game or something. And yeah, it's been a lot of
It was a big deal, man.
smaller games recently or just recycled ones. So yeah, it makes sense to finally take it out to pasture and just, everybody loves Game Pass and now we're all just embracing Game Pass full time essentially.
Yeah, we all saw this coming, so it's what it is.
Yeah. Moving on to some other news. Have you all been keeping up with the SAG-AFTRA strike and what all this means?
Somewhat.
So yeah, just a little bit. And my favorite part of it, I dropped a link in our doc right before we started and made you guys look at my favorite part so far. Zach, our friend Zachary Zackles, he sent me this TikTok, I believe, and it was Sean Gunn talking mad crap to Bob Iger, who said that basically the entire thing was a shame. It's a shame that they're doing this. It's a shame for the business, and they're really slowing things down, and, they shouldn't be complaining. And basically Sean Gunn fired back and was like, bro, you make 40 times what your lowest paid employee makes. 40 times. You're a piece of shit, and I hope when you look in the mirror, you feel shitty. That's basically the gist of what he said back, which I really liked. Yeah, everybody's got to get their money, man. We're living in an age now where if people if they don't have to pay you, they're not going to. So you got to get your money, man. It's a good thing they have a union that they can even fight for this. A lot of places are non-unionized, and I grew up in Texas, no unions allowed. It's no good. I don't like that. I don't like what it does for the working class. I think it's inappropriate, and they got to fight for their money. Good for them. Go get it. Get paid. And the guys who are making 40 times what their lowest employee get paid can eat an entire load. They could just take a load in the mouth and chew on it. And that's how I feel. But
Yeah.
Go on.
My favorite part was Ron Perlman. Did you see what he said?
No.
Oh, you didn't see
please,
it?
enlighten
Okay,
me.
so there was a leak that behind closed doors, one of the some network executive was talking about their plan to make the strike go on long enough for people to start losing their houses. and apartments and whatnot, becoming homeless, and so Ron Perlman was pissed, and he was like, "Hey, I'm not going to say anything publicly, but we know who you are, and it'd be a shame if someone came and burnt down your house." It was like, oh shit, Ron Perlman, like he really got some. So good for you.
He doesn't really seem like the guy I would ever want to mess with or get on his bad side.
No, not at all. He's terrifying.
Yeah, he seems like a guy who plays a badass because he actually used to be one. You know, at some point in time, he was a very dangerous person, and he's probably still a pretty dangerous person. And with, you know, I know that when they filmed Sons of Anarchy, that they had real Hell's Angels on set to come by and to make sure that things looked right and acted right. And I would not be surprised at all if Ron Perlman had some friends. So, watch out. Watch out when it comes to Ron Perlman.
Yeah, don't screw with Ron Perlman. That's terrible. That's a bad call. It's a bad call.
So, you know, this is the first time there have been two guilds striking at the same time since 1960. So it's a big deal, and obviously with the SAG-AFTRA, there's a lot of high-profile names there, and I think there's a common thought among people. They're like, well, actors get paid so much, and what this is not about the superstars that are getting paid $20 million a picture. Like what you said, Gary. This is about the people that are lower on the totem pole who are making low amounts of money compared to the CEOs of these big studios and how the system is. Have you been familiar with the president of SAG-AFTRA and who it is and what they
Yes.
some of the quotes?
It's
Nope.
the nanny.
Oh, I was gonna have Gary do a guessing game.
Oh,
It's Fran
Drescher is the president of SAG. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And
she made an
is
impassioned
awesome.
speech last week that like went viral, and yeah, it was like pretty cutting. Like it was kind of awesome. And she's cool.
That is not at all who I would have guessed.
No.
Right.
That's
why I wanted to
thought
do,
either. I was like, wow, Fran Drescher really, I mean, she really did something. She really worked her way up and decided to do that. And that's really cool of her. I think that's really cool. It says a lot about her.
But it's basically, you know, I just find all the studio stuff so interesting. It all comes down to money, of course. Streaming is a big part of it because actors don't have the ability to get the same paydays like they would get from movies that had a lot of success at the box office, because streamers keep all of their analytics and things pretty close to the vest when they can. Of course, AI is a big part of it, and I don't know if y'all saw the stories last week about extras potentially being scanned and kept by the studios to use them infinitely in movies, and even big stars apparently don't have an issue with their likeness being used by as far as AI goes, but they of course just want to be compensated or alerted when this is going to happen. So it's very interesting.
Did you see the extra thing?
No, but I'm laughing because I said months ago I would do this. I said months ago I would sell my likeness to an AI company and be an AI actor.
That's one thing, and that's fine, and no one really has a problem with that because
but you don't have to tell me when or pay me ever again. It's a one-time thing.
Well,
you just pay me and use it. I don't care. You know, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, but then I'll see myself in movies and be like, "Whoa, that's me." I don't care. Go ahead. Just give me a couple thousand. You know, you don't have to pay me in the millions like these actors. I'm part of the problem.
Yeah, but what they are saying is they want to pay an extra for a single day's work to scan them and use their likeness forever.
Forever. Yeah, no, I'm do that. I'm good with that.
Gary's like, I'm cool just being in every movie.
Just drop me a wad of cash for it and we'll go on our way. And I'm not looking for millions
for me
because I'm a nobody.
I mean, yeah, for me and you who have no real intention of getting into things, it could be a cool deal. And we just see ourselves in movies randomly. It'd be kind of surreal sometimes, but for people that are professional, like that's what they do for a living, that's pretty detrimental.
Yes, like I said, I'm part of the problem here, but it seems like it seems to me that technology has come to a point where needing extras has been solved, and you no longer need to pay 500 people to stand around. You could just do it a couple times and be done with it. And to me, that seems pretty smart. It really does seem like a good use of time and money. and you're done with it for like, forever. I totally get it.
This is why we need Gary. We need the opinion from, from the one that's going to give it to you,
Look, man, I'm not saying it's right, but they can do it. They don't need to have 500 people stand around and then come back the next day.
As long as you agree that it's fucked up, I mean, that's fine.
It's not right, but even from a production standpoint, not from a business standpoint, from a production standpoint, it doesn't make sense to keep bringing in extras. Just be done with it. Bring them in and be done. You have crowds you can use. Look, here's a database of 20, 30, 40 different crowds we scanned. Pick one, and you don't have to bring in all these people. You don't have to do all these costumes again. You don't have to provide all this food again and all this makeup again. I totally get it, man. Do one of fantasy, do one of modern age, do one of people all run down in raggedy clothes, and you've got what you need for years to come. I totally get it from a production standpoint and how easy that makes it to add a crowd to the background.
I'm just envisioning now the game of Find the Gary in movies, and Gary is just a scanned extra that walks by in the background of the scene. But in Space Jam: A New Legacy, he's in the Warner Brothers crowd randomly.
Exactly. And if I didn't know what movies I was in and people were tagging me bro, I saw you in this movie, I would be laughing my ass off. I would think that was awesome. So I get it. I get why it's a problem, but I also think it's cool. Hey, studios, if you want to pay somebody, you know who to talk to.
I just in 10 years, when inevitably they make the Angels in the Outfield Legacy sequel, Gary is still looking as he is today, getting a Pepsi spilled on him in the crowd of a baseball game or something. Can we just, maybe this is not a good thing to have overall, but could we at least just have that for Gary? Let Gary be scanned and used in everything.
I mean,
can we just do it for me?
I mean, at the end of the day, what we're talking about is it's about consent. The fact that Gary wants that, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But the fact that the general amount of extras don't want that is the problem. And the fact that they want to force it upon people, that's the issue. But yeah, the fact that Gary wants to do it, you do whatever you want, man. That's cool. I think that'd be hilarious, but
I think eventually, that's the thing, right? Is I can't do it because I'm not a guild member, and it's going to come to a point where they're going to have a lot of people who aren't guild members, people like me, who would be it would be cool to be in a movie. I'll get paid one time to be in a movie forever because I'm not the only dickhead out here. And so I do think eventually it will happen. I think a smaller production studio is going to do it, some indie studio or something, or maybe even a visual effects studio will do something like this, where they say it's not extras, it's visual effects. You can just add a visual effect in the background. I think what is happening here is inevitable. I think this is going to happen. We're going to have these AI extras eventually. Yeah. I don't know what to do about it. I'm not, and these people are, feeding their families by being extras, and they will no longer be able to do that. And that sucks. That sucks hard. So we have to figure out something else. But yeah, I don't really see a long future of extras. I really don't. I see some writing on the wall here. There will always be some extras, always. Yeah. But I think this is going to cut a huge chunk out of needing extras, a huge chunk out of that whole department.
There's another interesting...
I don't know what to say about it.
Yeah.
There's another interesting part of this strike, which is that obviously movie stars can no longer take place in promotion of movies and things like that. So there's no interviews, no podcasts, no social media promotion.
What's Jimmy Fallon doing?
Well, his show's already been on hiatus because the writers are striking, so there's no writers. So now you have no writers and no stars available to do it.
Jimmy Fallon was the only late night host to not continue to pay his staff, right? Isn't that true?
I'm not sure. I can't say it's fact. I remember
can't say it's fact
that
either, but I feel like that was
at least some of them. I feel like Colbert was still paying employees or something. So yeah, I'm not sure.
I feel like he paid them out of pocket.
But one thing that interesting that happened actually last night, they had the red carpet premiere for the Haunted Mansion movie that's coming out from Disney here in a couple weeks, and the stars of that movie that were supposed to be there, people like Lakeith Stanfield and Tiffany Haddish and Jamie Lee Curtis, Danny DeVito, Rosario Dawson, Owen Wilson, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, were not there, because of the strike stipulations. So they were not there, not promoting the movie on the red carpets. So instead, Disney had Disney characters walking the red carpet. So they had like Mickey and Minnie and Maleficent and the evil queen from Snow White and Cruella de Vil and just like a bunch of villain characters and stuff on the red carpet, like straight out of their theme parks instead, because they couldn't have their actors there. So there are no interviews with press or anything.
It's almost literally a clown show. Like, it's ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah, no, I heard that the cast of Oppenheimer moved their premiere up to right before the strike so that they could attend the first hour of the red carpet. And then as soon as the strike officially started, they all left. So that's really interesting.
That's funny.
And the other thing with this, too, is that we might start to see, depending on how long it goes, which I don't know as far as SAG-AFTRA goes. I have no idea what the timetable on this is, if it's going to be going on for a long time or if they could negotiate something quickly. But if it goes on for a while, you could start seeing the studios start to shift movies around, because there are movies that are coming out where promotion's already taken place or they don't necessarily need additional promotion. Like Barbie's going to do just fine at this point. Oppenheimer, is set to makes not as much as Barbie, but it's going to be a big weekend at the theater coming up with Oppenheimer, Barbie, and Mission Impossible holding from last week. But you could get movies like Blue Beetle or just other ones slated to come out in the fall that could get pushed because they could use the star power and promotion of its stars in them. So I don't know. You could see this with more independent movies or things like that are very star driven, that need their stars to promote the movies. I don't know. So that'll be something interesting to
in the
look out
case
for.
of Blue Beetle specifically, the actor that plays the main character I saw that he came out and said that, like, hey, I can't promote this movie because of the strike, but like I hope other people do, like people like you and me. But I've also heard the opposite, where you, me, and Gary promoting these movies during the strike is sort of crossing a picket line, and I've heard both sides, and so I'm not entirely sure.
It sort of makes us the asshole, right?
A little bit.
If we're willing to step up and do what they're contractually not obligated, they can't do it. But also, if you're a fan of the movie and you're a fan of what's going to happen, if you want Blue Beetle to succeed, right? If we believe in it, then we should be spreading the word about something we believe in.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't want to disrespect them.
I don't. Yeah, I definitely do. I fully support the strike. Place. Yeah, and I know you guys do too. Like a lot of people are going to complain about delays and like, oh, this season's coming out. Like, who cares? You know what I mean? They're just shows. Like, these are people's lives we're talking about. I know that you guys agree with that. But I guess I feel like the main problem would be like, bigger promoters doing big pieces and like IGN taking money to do big promotion pieces and stuff like that. People like us that are smaller and like really what we're doing is we are having a conversation as friends and, talking about what we're interested in. I feel like it's a little different, but
yeah, if we built a business or built a brand right now because of the vacuum, then we would be
huge assholes if we did that. Yeah, that'd be awful.
But we're just some guys talking about a thing.
Yeah.
So I would say, as far as that's concerned, go see Blue Beetle. I'll do my piece.
I want to see Blue Beetle. Yeah.
If he can't tell you to.
It's weird being like a fan of content. Like, we like movies and shows and things, and we want to see more and want to enjoy them. We also want the people that make those things to be happy and be appropriately compensated. That being said, like, I want those people to get what they want. But yeah, am I going to be sad if movies I want to see start getting pushed? Like, yeah, probably a little bit, but I hope that doesn't make me an asshole.
No, you're fine to be upset about it, but as long as you don't put the welfare of those people ahead of you being a little upset, that's fine. Like, you can't help how you feel.
Right.
Before we move on from this topic, I have a speculation I just wanted to throw out at you guys. And this is purely speculation, food for thought. Disney before all this happened, pushed and rearranged and changed the release dates of all their Marvel movies. Do you guys think Disney could smell this coming? They knew what was in the wind. They could see the ball forming and said, we need to start pushing and moving some of this stuff.
It's definitely possible because they had an extension on the negotiations for SAG-AFTRA, so it did go longer than expected before they striked. Started to strike. And the Writers Guild has already been striking for a while, so that probably played into it as well. And the Directors Guild also negotiated recently, but they were able to come to terms, so they did not end up striking. But yeah, it's interesting.
I would rather them postpone everything than to have to sit through the final season of Heroes ever again.
In my mind, I'm thinking there are so many streaming services and there is so much content and there are so many games on Game Pass that you guys can ride this out, man. Ride this out for 2 years, man. I've got content up to my eyeballs. Let's go. I could start painting more minis. I could start reading more books. Drag this out, man. Get your money. Get
I'll
paid.
talk about video games, man. It's all good.
My backlog of literally everything is insane. Of every medium, everything. It's insane.
I'll get crazy and read a book.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe I'll do something crazy. Maybe Drew will finally start watching anime. You're like, Lord knows there's enough anime to keep him busy for 2 years.
It could happen.
Like, you know, there's so much content that we're living in this era right now that we don't even have time to go outside and do things in our neighborhood. So, like, strike away, man. Strike away.
I'm in my 30s and I already have thoughts of like, can't wait for 30 years from now when I can retire and catch up on all the stuff that I haven't been able to get to. Like that's the life we lead.
That is a great time to transition. Let's talk about some of the stuff that we have been able to get to recently.
I think we might want to start. So there's only one game on all of our lists. I feel like we should just knock that out so we can talk about the rest of the stuff.
Well, and I'm genuinely interested to hear about this game because I know I've seen other friends on my friends list playing this game, and I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Absolutely.
So speaking of other friends playing, I was playing with Chad, with Nick. I was playing with Lee. Today I was playing with Robert, and then one of Nick's friends from Destiny got on. I've played with Jahan. You know, so everyone is dipping their toes in this game. I'm trying to get Thomas to play it because I think he has Game Pass, but I'm really liking Exoprimal, and I'm glad people are giving it a shot.
I feel bad because you did send me an invite to play this game the other night, and I have it installed, but I was in the middle of playing Diablo with another friend, so I feel bad for not joining into it. And
no
and
problem.
I couldn't be part of your list.
There's about a 20-minute forced tutorial anyways, so if you would have joined, then you would have had to have gone through that, and then you probably would have been ready for bed at the end of all that. So don't worry about it, and then that's a note for everybody looking forward to this game. You can't jump straight in with your friends. You have to do a tutorial and then a mission with AI, so it's about 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, there's a couple things that are annoying about the game, but overall, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Exoprimal is free on Xbox Game Pass, but available through other mediums. It is a third-person action shooter in which you are a person inside an exosuit, which is pretty much just like an Iron Man suit. In a lot of cases, they're slightly bigger than that.
It looked like EA's Anthem. That's what the exosuits look like.
It was a lot like
the gameplay. The gameplay is nothing like Anthem. So don't be crushed. Don't worry. It's not terrible. But it does look like Anthem suits. And you're right. They look like Iron Man suits. They look dope.
Yeah, it looks like Anthem, but it's better. It plays... I mean, we've discussed this while we were playing. It's a little like Overwatch in that each suit has its own set of abilities. So it's kind of a champion shooter in that case. But very much not like any game ever, really, is... it is competitive against another team. What are the teams? Teams of 5, right? And so both teams start, and you go to an area, and dinosaurs start to spawn. You have to kill a specific amount. you move on to the next area, and so on until you start and you fight progressively harder and harder waves.
I'm talking about first you're fighting raptors, and I'm talking hundreds of raptors swarming down the street. It is awesome. And then you have to fight raptors and pterodons. So you've got stuff flying in on top of you. Then there's spitters that'll be spitting down the street. Then like a carnosaur, which is a small T-Rex, will show up. And you'll have to fight the carnosaur and fight, one carnosaur, 60 raptors, and like 4 flying birds. So it'll be all this crap going on at once. Just wave clear, monster, bigger monster, Ankylosaurus, Stegosaurus, Triceratops. I mean, it's got all the hits, man. It is an insanely fun time. From all the different characters to play to the once you've played them all, the more you play them, you unlock modifications for the characters that can change your skills up a little bit, change the way the character plays. And so the more you're playing, the better your character gets if you're investing points in them. So it gives you a reason to want to play every character, and every character sort of has growth. And this game, Exoprimal, did something I really like. I've thought about this before, and I've never seen it. It's got a story mode, but it's baked into the multiplayer. So as you complete missions, it will show you a video about what's going on in the timeline of the world. So it's you're learning about this world, and you're learning the lore just by playing more multiplayer games. Just by continuing to play, the entire campaign unlocks. I have 100% completed this game already. I got the credits to roll. I've got all the data packets. My characters, a ton of them are maxed out. I'm about Exoprimal. I'm telling you, it's certified fresh, out the box. If you've got Game Pass, get this grease and start shooting dinosaurs now.
Absolutely.
I'm watching some videos now of just them, so many little raptors, and them throwing bombs, and raptors just flying everywhere.
So it just keeps going. There are boss fights like Monster Hunter where creatures do these special attacks that'll like one-hit kill you if you don't jump on platforms in time. Like, it's like puzzly, it's fightery. Sometimes instead of being 5-on-5, all 10 of you will fight a raid boss together. And the final boss of the game is like a 40-minute boss fight. I mean, it's nuts. There's 10 people just fighting. You're capturing different flags. You're running different objectives back and forth. Exoprimal's great, man. If they continue to do live service and build on this game, which I believe is the intention, it's going to be a hit.
Yeah, I definitely could see more missions and more exosuits available.
When I beat the game, it said that I unlocked a new game mode, which I thought was really funny. And then because the second screen said this game mode is not available yet, it was like, you've unlocked the ability to play this mode. And it was like, this mode is not yet released, but when it is, you can play it. So once you beat the game or get 100% collection, then you unlock a new mode. So I know they are going to expand and continue to build, and I've played new maps since I beat the game. I haven't played the same old stuff. I've played against like new layouts of the same old maps. I've played against new monsters, like where they'll do double Ankylosaurus in places where it used to be one. So it's definitely switched up and freshed up. And again, I think the mods really take that extra limit for me where I like having some form of character customization. If the characters were flat and stagnant, I don't think I would like this game. But being able to change out the mods is changing. Yeah, it's able to change your cooldown and your reload and stuff like that. So it matters a lot in the game.
Yeah, you can change your skin, all that stuff. You can change the way you look, the way you play, everything.
You kind of partly answered this question for me already, because my big question was going to be, so you've already beaten the game and you have some characters maxed out. Do you think when you max out all the characters, is that when you decide that you're done? Or do you continue playing? Or like, I guess, does it have the staying power? And I don't think it's a bad thing if it's a game you play for 2 or 3 weeks and have a great time with it and then go, okay, I'm done. But if it's something that is it something you could be playing for a long time?
I think that it has the staying power for sure. While we were playing, like, we just kept accidentally coming upon new maps, new mission types. Like, there's a big variety in the mission types. At first, I thought it was kind of like, oh, we just do this every time. There are a lot of different mission types.
Take our word for it. If you play like 3, 4, or 5 games and you're wondering, is this all there is? No. That's not all there is. Keep playing.
You'll unlock stuff.
But if you're saying, I don't like this, is this all there is? Well, then maybe don't keep playing, because it is the same game. There are more things to do and it is fun. But if you don't like it from the get-go, if you just don't like shooting dinosaurs with a group of 5 people that have different skills, then you're not going to like it, 30 hours in. It's still just shooting dinosaurs with a group of 5 people. It's just doing it in different places. I like it. I think it's certified fresh. I think it does have some staying power. But you're talking to the guy who still plays Deep Rock Galactic every single week and do my weeklies. I could definitely see Exoprimal doing something like weeklies to get skins or weeklies to get extra coins and stuff like that to make people want to come back every week and play again. They're doing a season already. They started with a season. And the season gives tons of skins, but what it doesn't give is any like season experience or season points. Apex Legends, that's what they do. If you buy a season pass in Apex, it gives you enough points to buy the next season pass. They don't do that in this game, so usually I won't look at a season pass if they don't do that. I like you buy it once, you have a season pass forever. I like that setup. That's fun for me. I play it and I get the next one. Cool, I earned it. This one, they just want your money. I don't know about giving you extra money for skins. I'm glad the game is free. I can tell you that multiple of our friends already have bought the starting character pack, which is $7, and all those characters are free anyways. If you just play the game, it's free. You don't have to spend money. You unlock them with experience. And they also, 2 of them bought the season because they thought the skins were dope. So it's working. Free game. People are going to buy the season. People are going to buy the skins. Of course they are. You released a free game, so you're going to get $7, $10 out of people. Easy.
I believe this is a $60 game, though, on other consoles.
That's correct. So you get your extras, your $11 for the season pass or whatever, right? And people are going to hopefully play 6 seasons of this game, and then you got your money back if they're not buying any extra skins in between. But I know 2 people who already spent over $20 on it, and it's not any of us, but they're already doing it. That's the people they're after, is the people who are going to spend the cash because they got a free game. And I'm sure when we say free game, I've not looked into how much Microsoft is paying the companies they get these from. But I'm guessing Microsoft pays Capcom an absurd amount of money that would make you poop your pants and laugh at the same time. And then Capcom gets this money also.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a great game. It definitely has staying power. The game modes are very varied. It's not just shooting dinosaurs. After you finish that whole part of the game, there is a final showdown in which you actually enter the same instance as your enemy, the team you're competing against, and you're trying to complete a task together, but you can fight each other in that instance. So there is PvP, and you can turn into dinosaurs during that time. One of your teammates can turn into a giant dinosaur and go kill the other team, vice versa. It's pretty cool. I certify this fresh as well. Check out Exoprimal. If you have Game Pass, there's no reason not to check it out.
The only reason I have not to check it out is that the new season of Diablo starts on Thursday, and I'm just super hesitant to start a new game. But it does kind of sound like the way y'all are describing it, you can kind of drop in and play a little here and there, except for when you have one of those big old 40-minute boss fights.
Yeah, this is not a time commitment, really, I would say. This is a pretty easy drop-in, drop-out gameplay. It's not it's not Tears of the Kingdom. It's not Jedi Survivor. It is...
The rounds run just about 20 minutes. I was playing right before I got on, and I was watching the clock, and I was like, okay, I think I have time for 2 more, and that was exactly right. It was 40 minutes for 2 games, so right about 20, plus the load times and stuff. The load times are a little painful, but...
but it's not too bad.
It honestly didn't bother me, but they're not great,
It's look at your phone time for... It
is. It's about... maybe 3.5 to 4 minutes from when you hit launch to when the game starts. So it's look at your phone time. It's stand up and walk around, get some water time. There's a little bit of a wait. It didn't bother me because then you get to kill like thousands of dinosaurs. I don't know if I mentioned that. You get to kill like thousands of dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I would suggest checking it out for sure. I forgot what I was going to say, but yeah.
Oh, I think you were going to mention the thousands of dinosaurs.
Maybe.
Oh. That's all we have for Exoprimal, and that's all we have this week for video games.
I know what I was going to say. The round times are so consistent because it is a race between two teams, so it's usually it'll be tight. So you can count on those game times if you only have a little while to play.
All right. Well, perfect. Yeah, Gary said that was it for video games. I'm gonna drill through some movies just really quick because there's actually one in particular that I really want to talk about here because I find it so fascinating. And that one is not the big release of this past week, but I'll just briefly say Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Are y'all Mission Impossible fans? If you like this franchise?
I am. Fallout was so good.
I agree. Fallout was awesome, and I like it. I feel like it's the American James Bond, and I like it more than James Bond. I think Mission Impossible is awesome.
Oh, I definitely think Mission Impossible is better than James Bond.
Dead Reckoning Part 1, probably not as good as Fallout, still really solid. And I've gone on the record here, obviously, last year when Top Gun came out and how much I liked that movie, and it was in my top of the year. So, like, I did kind of have a little bit of an excitement boost for, like, the next big Tom Cruise action movie, and it didn't disappoint in that way, too, just with him as a movie star. I'm a fan. But, you know, there's nothing about this that's, like, breaking the mold or anything necessarily. It's another Mission Impossible movie, right? Like, there's a lot of, like, plot, that gets you essentially just to get from one big action set piece.
Government, blah blah blah, bad guy, blah blah blah.
There's
awesome
a key.
Ending.
There's a key that's in two parts that they make a cruciform key, like a little cross, and it's awesome. AI and blah blah blah, and there's a lot of talking in rooms about it, but the action set pieces live up to the standards of what you expect. So, definitely a great one to see.
Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah, I mean, what more can you say?
I think last time we talked about him, I was like, there's always a thing. There's like a magic thing. It doesn't really matter what the magic thing is. And then they got to get it or someone's trying to get it from them. And
the Mission Impossible, they're much more defined by the action set pieces and what you remember there than you remember like the plot of any of them. So
remember the time Philip Seymour Hoffman got run over by a bus?
I think that was in the third one?
Yes, it was. And that's exactly how you remember the movie, is by the set piece and by what happens. That's exactly right.
I always remember the elevator scene in the first movie.
Oh, at the beginning?
Yeah. With
Emilio Estevez?
Yeah, where he gets shanked in the face because for some reason he just can't duck.
Yep.
There was plenty of space. He could have just laid down. This is good stuff.
Dead Reckoning Part 1, I'd say certified fresh. There's a horror movie called Talk to Me. Have y'all seen the trailer for this?
Oh, yeah, it looks creepy.
It's super spooky looking. And I got to see this. It doesn't come out in theaters for another, I think, week and a half or so. Really solid little A24 distributed horror movie. Horror movies are interesting because like there's an Insidious movie that just came out like a week or two ago that, I mean, I saw trailers for it and whatnot, but it's not a movie I had a lot of fanfare for. That's a franchise I've only seen the first entry. I haven't seen the other ones. And it made like a baffling amount of money in its opening weekend because horror is just such a safe bet in the current box office climate. Like these big tentpole blockbusters make less than expected, but horror just does well consistently. And so I'm interested to see how Talk to Me does because it could be a really popular horror movie of the summer. It's basically about these. It takes place in Australia, and they like kids at a party have this embalmed hand that they hold on to it, and you say the words "talk to me." And a spirit of somebody who has died appears in front of you, and then you can choose to like let them in and have a conversation with them, and it's almost like it provides almost like a high when they're doing it. Like your friends get pumped seeing you basically get possessed and talk to a spirit.
Yeah, it's like a super Ouija board.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good way of putting it. But if you do it, if you hold onto the hand for more than 90 seconds, you could cause irreparable damage or whatever it may be. So It's the premise is kind of fun, and of course there's the main girl whose mom has recently died, and is this a way to communicate with my mom? And that, it leans into that. But the horror effects of like the spirits and things are genuinely frightening and creepy and gross looking. The acting in it is really good. There's not really any big names in it. It's all Australian stars, and I thought it was really solid for like a good 90-minute horror movie. So I recommend it when that one's out. The other two movies I was going to talk about. One, I finally saw Magic Mike's Last Dance. Talked about this months ago when it came out, and I was going to catch up on the franchise, and I finally have done so. And Magic Mike's Last Dance is the epitome of fine. Like it's a big detour from the rest of the franchise. It's kind of just feels like it was a romance movie, and they decided, yeah, but we could put Channing Tatum in here and make his character the character from Magic Mike and make it a Magic Mike movie so that it fits into a franchise, because it barely has anything to do with any of the past movies, and it's really just like a love story between Channing Tatum and Salma Hayek that involves dancing. So I thought it was kind of slow, but the third act is kind of fun, but I'm not super enthusiastic about Magic Mike's
Boy,
Last
you
Dance.
really sold me on this one. How fresh is it?
It's like mid-fresh.
So this is Magic Mike's Last Dance.
It
So
is.
he's-
Apparently, it is
So
his
he's
last dance.
Never gonna
Did he
dance
die?
again.
I'm never gonna
he-
dance again. Oh wait,
Did
don't
he-
don't copyright
Don't
ding
say
me,
it, don't say it.
Spotify.
Did he die in it?
No, he did not die.
What if they make another one?
I mean, they could still make more. I guess.
He just can't dance in them.
Is there something that prevents him from dancing? Does he become a paraplegic?
No, he just has left that life behind. He's just moving on,
He becomes really depressed.
and he's in love with Salma Hayek now, and that's reason enough for him to not want to go be a male stripper anymore.
How does he stay in shape now that he's not dancing for like 6 to 8 hours a
You
day?
know what? Okay, actually, I'm glad that you bring this up. There's a moment. There's a moment in this movie where Salma Hayek asks Mike, Channing Tatum's character, like how he's in such good shape, and he literally just kind of goes, I don't know, genetics, I guess." And it's like, I'm pretty sure none of us watching this movie are dumb enough to think that Channing Tatum just has good genetics and doesn't put hours upon hours into the body that he had. It literally took me out of the movie that was the throwaway line there. And I don't know if they were trying to
That's
be
what I would
cheeky
tell
or funny.
Salma Hayek too.
I'm sure they were trying to be funny, but yeah, the truth is he probably has a $1 million nutritionist just off camera feeding him kale smoothies all day.
Right, exactly.
Salma Hayek's like 20 years older than Channing Tatum, isn't she?
It doesn't.
She's
matter.
in her mid.
It doesn't matter. She's
think
still
he's
a
in his-
knockout. It's just like
Yeah.
it really speaks to her beauty that she's just side by side with the thirst trap Magic Mike, and
hottest
no one
dude.
questions it because she's insane looking.
And it's kind of acknowledged in the movie too, but barely. Yeah, I'd say it's fresh out the mid. Can that be a thing?
Nope, not a thing. It either is or isn't fresh, and you know that this is not fresh. I just need to hear you say it.
Yeah, it's not fresh. The other two, Mission Impossible, Talk to Me, fresh. Magic Mike's Last Dance, not fresh.
Not fresh.
But here's the movie that I really wanted to talk about here. I, for the first time in months, booted up my Shudder account. Are y'all familiar with Shudder? The horror
Yes,
movie
sir.
streaming service.
You mean where I saw what was that movie that we both liked with the guy from Space? Gore.
Psycho Gorman?
Psycho Gorman, yeah.
Yeah. So there is a horror movie that's on Shudder, and it's called Speak No Evil. And this is a psychological horror film, and it's a Danish movie, or there's scenes that are in Danish and in Dutch. So so that's worth noting. But the overall premise of this movie, I'm not going to spoil anything because it's It's one of those movies, you just got to see it. Essentially, there is a Danish couple and their daughter who go on vacation in Tuscany. And while they're there, they meet another couple and their young son, and their young son doesn't speak. And they become friendly on vacation, kind of vacation friends. The dad is a doctor and so on of the family they meet on vacation. They are very, very kind of interesting family. The main couple, the Danish couple, goes back home, and not long after vacation, receive a postcard from the Dutch couple that they met, inviting them to come to their house and stay for a few days. Right? Like, we met on vacation, we had so much fun. Come stay with us.
That's not weird at all. Go ahead.
And they go to their home and, quickly start to notice some things that feel a little bit off. Their son has a condition where he was born without a tongue, so he cannot speak. So this goes into the name, Speak No Evil. But, it just becomes the family becoming more and more uncomfortable during the stay until there's more reveals made. And I'm not going to spoil what any of those are, but the big reveal in this movie literally had me doing Macaulay Culkin face from Home Alone when it happened. Just like, and it just creeped me out. And it's so yucky and just... definitely not an uplifting movie. So if you're in the mood for a horror movie, it's a great psychological horror movie that definitely ends on not a positive note. So you have to, be ready for that going into it, but it's so well done that I have to still recommend it. But yeah, I watched this and afterwards I'm like, why did I do this to myself? I was having kind of an existential moment.
I was going to ask you if being born without a tongue is a real thing, and then I just went ahead and Googled it myself. And of course, that's a real thing. Of course it is. I guess anybody
can be born without whatever.
Without anything, right? Yeah, that's what I thought too as I was typing it in. But it's like what I really meant was like, is it like a thing? Is it a thing? It's a thing. It's a whole thing.
I don't know why, but the first line of the IMDb synopsis. It's just really funny to me. A Danish family visits a Dutch family they met on holiday. I don't know why that's funny. it just makes me laugh. Like, why? Who cares if they're Danish and Dutch? I don't know.
And this is, I've seen some funny letterboxed reviews and where I lurk and read what other people say about movies where people are like, you know what? I don't have good social skills, and I wouldn't become friends with another family on vacation. So this scenario could never happen to me, which I thought was quite funny.
I've done it before.
The second somebody invited me to their house, I would be like, what? We're cool, but we're not that cool.
Me and my buddy were at Six Flags in Mexico City, and I was getting dental work done in Mexico, so my dentist gave me painkillers or whatever so that I would be able to enjoy the theme park, and so I was kind of buzzed when I was there, and I was just kind of being a shit, and I didn't have any inhibitions. There's a family taking pictures, and I snuck into their photos, and then they were looking around for me, they found me, and then they kind of adopted me and my friend for the day, and we just kind of went around the whole park with them. A mom, dad, and their kids. It was really weird.
That's really funny.
But yeah, I've done that. It's fun.
So I put myself through the experience of watching this movie, and then naturally I'm reading on Wikipedia after just kind of about the production, and I see that there is a 2024 American remake of this movie that's being done because the original's Dutch. They're going to make an American version that stars James McAvoy and Mackenzie Davis and Scoot McNairy and a few people. So I'm like, it's a Blumhouse movie. I put myself through the trauma of this movie once. I'm probably going to end up doing it again in the future when they remake this to see how they change it.
There's no way the American remake's going to be anywhere near as good.
Probably
I don't know,
not.
I don't know how good this movie was for you. If this, I mean, it doesn't sound like it was an instant horror classic to you, but like this happens all the time with movies that are, and it annoys me because like there's Let the Right Ones In, which was a fantastic foreign movie about a vampire. It was so well done, so out of the box, like so different. And then they did a remake, and obviously it wasn't as good. And then same thing, they're planning to do a remake of what has become possibly one of my favorite zombie movies of all time, Train to Busan. They're gonna remake it. And it's like, why? Like
The Grudge,
like just watch.
Shudder.
Yeah.
The list goes on, man. All the Japanese horror movies that we stole for the
Yes.
past 20 years.
Honestly, when it comes to Japanese horror movies, I almost understand because they are, in general, probably too terrifying for an American audience because even the Americanized versions are traumatizing. And that's the only reason I could see that you might want to do it because, like, it's too hardcore, but...
There's no way that Drew watched this movie and was like, you know what would make this better? James McAvoy. That's what would make this better. There's
Yeah.
literally
No, there was no
way.
part of me that watched it and was like, wish they would remake this to be in America. Like, no, not at all.
And there's no way. No. All right.
But another example of this is there was a movie called Funny Games that they remade. But the interesting thing about it was the same director. It was an Austrian horror movie, and the same director remade it, but starring Tim Roth and Naomi Watts and English speaking cast. But literally, it was like shot for shot the exact same movie. It's like, why? So you basically just did this because people don't
Want
like
listen
to read
watch
subtitles or what? I don't know. That being said, not to
Just like,
That could
down
be solved
quarantine.
by a dub. I think a dub would have solved that.
not to downplay my thoughts on Speak No Evil. For me, it's like a solid 8 out of 10. Like, I thought it was actually really good. It's just a harrowing watch. Like, it's a great movie, but it's not a fun journey that you're on it. You're uncomfortable. The reveal happens. It made me almost feel sick to my stomach. Like, it's one of those. So it's very effective in what it's trying to do. It's just, it's not for the faint of heart. Like, you can't go recommending this to somebody on the street when, like, they could go to the theater and see Mission Impossible right now, or like go subscribe to Shudder and watch this movie. Like, this is a very specific movie for people that like this genre. But I just have to speak about it because it literally has been stuck in my mind for the past week since I watched
Let's just put
it.
up like a 30-second spoiler warning so I can ask you a question about this, and so it doesn't spoil the end for anybody who's interested.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna ask you a question, and that question is: does the mom, or like, did the parents keep the kid's tongue like in a box, like the kid wasn't really born without a tongue, like they like cut his tongue out or something?
Do you want me to like tell you what actually happens?
No, just like you could just like yes or no me. Is the kid like really not born
The
with that?
parents did forcibly remove the child's tongue.
Okay, that's
point.
cool. I'm
Yeah.
good. Yeah, that's all they needed to hear.
Yes.
Okay, I took my headphones off in case I do watch this.
Yeah, no, it was good. I'm glad you took your headphones off. I had a question, and it was a yes or no answer, and I got my answer. So that
But
was
the
all.
main
I didn't wanna
thing
spoil
I'll
it too
add to
much.
that, Gary, and I know this won't spoil anything for you, Jahan, but I'll just say the question you asked, Gary, is that but however, like the reveals and twists go much more beyond just that. Clearly.
Okay.
Yeah, but I felt like we were having a pretty good conversation about like dubbing and English takeovers and all that stuff. So on that, like, yeah, you were talked about like shot for shot remakes. Rec 1, which they turned into a shot for shot remake, which was called Quarantine, was another good example. That's the one where they're stuck in the building, zombies happen, infected happen, pretty much. They really did. It was in Spanish originally, and they did that. And it's just a shame, man. I just feel like American audiences just need to become more okay with foreign film, man. Like, people are missing out on a lot, man. Especially, like, I found a love for Korean film. Japanese movies are the scariest.
It's very closed-minded and narrow to just suppose that Hollywood has the best ideas.
Yeah.
It's definitely fair to say that they have the most production. But saying that there aren't great stories and great directors around the world who don't have that same production value, you're missing a lot. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
There
and
are
they've
a lot of
proven
gems.
that. They've won Best Director now, you know? And it's
Um,
just...
while you're talking about Zambos, while you're talking about quarantine in a building full of zombies, why don't you talk to us about Zom 100?
Is that what you want to hear about? Is that what you want to hear about
That's
right
what I
now?
want to hear about.
I've been trying to get back into the anime scene, and I have. And I've been loving every second of the anime I've been watching.
I
So,
like to
Zom...
imagine that there's an anime bouncer who's been keeping you out of the anime scene for a while.
The
and he's finally
bouncer's
let you in.
name was Clinical Depression. But I feel better now, so I can enjoy the things that I once
Yes,
loved.
love it.
So, yeah. Don't be afraid of medication, kids. It can save your life. Hey, so Zom 100 is available on Crunchyroll and Netflix. It is... they had me sold at zombie anime. I've always been looking for another new one ever since High School of the Dead. This
And
one...
that's news to me. I didn't realize that you liked zombies.
I know, right? It's crazy. But Zom 100 is available on Netflix, which is cool. So pretty much everyone can watch it. It is about... So only the first 2 episodes are out so far. I'm going to watch the second one probably after this podcast. But they release every Sunday, so it's a brand new series, literally fresh off the presses. And it is great. It follows the protagonist who was working at this soul-crushing office job, never got to be home, was working ridiculous hours. He wanted to die. He had sleep deprivation. And, like, finally, after, like, 3 years, he was just like, man, I really wish that I didn't have to go to work tomorrow. And then, boom, the next day, zombies happen. And he's thrilled. He's excited. They really get into the whole why he hates his job. Like, they spend a lot of time establishing that because it's important to the character. They do a great job establishing this character. And then when the zombies happen, it is so well done. It's very artistic. They decide to do it. They play into his sleep deprivation a little bit. All these bright colors start happening. It's probably representative of like his like, hey, life's great now. As soon as zombies happen, he's like, I don't have to go to work. He's like, yeah, and he's running from like this horde of zombies with a smile on his face. But it's called Zom 100 because at the end of the episode, he winds up making a bucket list of 100 things to do before he dies in the zombie apocalypse. I didn't actually get to see what was on the list because he was writing it at the end of the episode. So I guess the second one we'll start to see more about that. But that's what this series is about. I thought it was really well done. I actually think this has a lot of potential to be a classic.
That's a fun premise. You can do a lot with that, and you can stretch that out a lot more than 100 episodes. You know, he doesn't have to do one thing per episode.
Yeah.
One of the things could be go to America, right? So that could take, he could be going all the way across
Season
the ocean
3,
for months.
yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly. So that's a lot of potential. I like that. That's a good pitch.
There's a lot of potential. It seems like, they'll probably be running this for a bit. Very excited to get my teeth into this one. It was good. I certified this one fresh. Just like from an art point of view alone, it is a beautiful anime. And then the story, the characters, everything's very engaging. The plot's good. I would definitely recommend this to anyone. If you like anime, check it out. If you like zombies, check it out. If you like both, then you'll be very happy. And speaking of anime, I've been binging another one.
For the record, I know earlier it was asked if that was a manga. It is a manga. It has been ongoing since 2019, and it looks like there are 55 issues so far.
Yeah.
And it's still ongoing.
Yeah, it's an ongoing. Yeah, so it's an ongoing manga. It's really fresh, man. It's brand new. It just got I'm sure there's a lot of fans of the manga that are like super excited that this is happening on Netflix. It's also available on Crunchyroll if you don't have Netflix for whatever reason. I've been watching it on Crunchyroll. But yeah, Zom 100 is great. The other one I've been putting off, even though it sounded like something I would like, just because the name kind of put me off. But these isekai, these modern animes, they tend to have crazy names like this. It's called That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime.
See, what's funny here is that you say that title might be a turnoff. I find this title to be incredibly intriguing.
It just sounded weird. It sounded like I was like, that's a dumb title. I just kind of put it. It just put me off a little bit, but I'm over that now. It's a great anime. I really like it. But so what it is honestly a similar character to the one in Psalm 100, just with a better life. He's really enjoying his life. He's a professional in Japan. He is invited out to talk to his friends. His friend just wanted to show off his new girlfriend to him. This character is like a virgin, but he's like 30 something, and he's just been focusing on his career. He hasn't had much luck with the ladies. But anyways, a man runs down the street with a knife in like a thrusting motion, just running like with like a mad look on his eye, and he pushes his friend out of the way. He gets shanked, and he bleeds out on the ground. During which time he starts saying certain words in his gibberish as he dies that wind up activating something in his new life as he gets reincarnated. At first he can't see, he can't really hear because he is a slime in a fantasy world. And from there he just sort of, things just sort of progress, evolve, and he learns new abilities. It's very cool. It is an isekai, so it is. It is like a video games kind of rule world where anything goes. It's a fantasy setting. It's very similar to me to Overlord in feel, Gary.
Hell yeah, love Overlord.
Because eventually this character, he starts progressing, he starts making friends, and he starts making alliances and all this other crazy stuff that I think is very fun to watch. I don't know, if you enjoy fantasy anime, check it out. If you enjoy just fantasy, definitely check it out. It's a good fantasy setting.
This one is also a manga, and we're looking at like hundreds of issues on this one.
Yeah.
Still current, still coming out. Bunch of different versions. Some are light novels, some are mangas. They've got spin-offs. So this looks like they've got some time on this one if it's doing well.
Yeah, that was the other thing that was putting me off, is that it's one of the big animes. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, this one's really good. And like, I don't know, sometimes I just put those like to the side. I'm like, I'll get to it. But there's more than one season out already. So check it out. It's definitely worth. I've been binging it. I've been loving it. It's fantastic. I certified this one fresh as well. I've had a lot of luck in the anime world lately. So check it out. And stay tuned, I guess, for more anime recs.
I'm talking about 3 fresh winners today. First off, I'm going to talk about Disney. I know everybody's got Disney Plus, so let's talk about Disney. I've been watching Meet the Chimps on Disney. So if you need something that's just like a feel-good show, this show takes place in Louisiana, and it's different like chimp enclosures, and they all have little names and families, and they're making the chimps feel better and fixing their little bones and introducing them to new families and giving them tasty snacks. So if you want to see happy little chimps rolling around eating snacks and being funny, check out Meet the Chimps on Disney. I think it's totally watchable and completely fresh. That's it. That is what it is. It's just nice. It's a nice little show. I don't have a lot to expand on.
I'm digging this recommendation.
Yeah, man, for sure.
And sometimes you need a palate cleanser, man.
And I just Googled the show, and there's a picture of a chimp who's in like a little hammock, and it looks super cute.
Oh,
and
that's Riley. That's Riley in the hammock. He's a mess. He likes to run around and tear stuff up and throw buckets. Oh, yeah, he's super funny. He's the only male in the all-female enclosure, and one of the females, like one of the top-ranking ones, is his mom. And so he is just automatically the alpha. And so he's just a little dickhead. He's hilarious. He's just always messing with everybody and gets away with it.
This is amazing.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's like a reality show, but with chimps. They have stories, they have names, they do things, and so like you can kind of get into it. It's something you can sort of enjoy, and it's easy to watch, and it's easy to turn off. And I think everybody's got Disney at this point.
I enjoy seeing animal personalities share there. It's really
Meet
cool.
the Chimps, man. Yeah. And it's it's not a whole lot of the behind the scenes doctors type of stuff. It's narrated by Jane Lynch, so it's got a pretty good narrator. It's got some emotion and some feeling. I'm about it, man. Meet the Chimps. Everybody likes Jane Lynch.
I'm really excited about your next one because I've heard about this one and I want to know what you think.
So I watched the first episode of Prank Panel a few weeks ago. Just the one episode was on for a whole month on Hulu before the show premiered. So I guess it was just like their, hey, get excited, premiere one episode thing. But Prank Panel is Johnny Knoxville, Eric Andre, and boy, I don't know the other girl's name. I'd have to look it up. But they are a prank panel. The three of them sit side by side, and people come in off the street, and they want to prank their friends or family members, and so they have to pitch the prank, kind of like that shark show.
Shark Tank.
Shark Tank, kind of like Shark Tank. So you come in and you pitch your prank, and they ask you about the person, if the person deserves the prank, and what you want to do, and what the big ending for your prank is. Oh, I remember who it is. It's Precious. We looked this up last time.
Oh, yeah, Gabourey Sidibe. Yeah.
There you go. That's who it is. And so the first episode I thought was very funny. They did a wedding that made it look like siblings got married. I had a great time. It was a lot of fun.
That's pretty fun.
The second episode was an absolute slam dunk between the legs. Amazing prank. Super, super funny stuff. It's a lady who wants to prank her like adopted son, which I think is like her grandson or something. They're very close, but she's a mess. She's like maybe like in her late 50s, and she's one of those people who's just super eccentric and super out there, and she wants to prank her son, and she's got all this energy about how he needs to be a man and stuff like this. And so when she walks out, they all look at each other and they're like, yeah, let's go meet the kid. Like I want to prank him so he becomes a man. It doesn't seem like very good a reason to prank somebody. So they end up reversing the prank on her, and it is phenomenal. Absolutely love the second episode. Third episode, I watched it today. I turned it off as they were doing like the end of the second prank. Neither of the pranks in the third episode were great. But that is to say, the show is watchable, and I'll continue to watch it because there have been some good pranks. I love Johnny Knoxville. I love Eric Andre. I thought it was super funny that Eric Andre kept quitting the show, and Johnny Knoxville had to make a truce that there was no more stun guns and no more pranking each other. Because Johnny is immune to stun guns. So Eric tried to get him back by stunning him, and then Johnny just like took the taser straight to the chest and then took it away from him and then was double tasing Eric while he was on the ground and wouldn't let him get up.
Is he immune because he's been tased so many times, or because he's so inbred that his nervous system is jacked?
Man, how many surgeries and concussions has he had too? Like, holy crap.
He probably has nerve damage.
He's invincible. He definitely has nerve damage. So, it's Johnny Knoxville doing Johnny Knoxville stuff. So you got to love it. I recommend Prank Panel. I would say if I had to choose between the two, fresh or not fresh, it's certainly fresh. I like it. I watched it, and I'll watch some more episodes. I could watch another season. I could keep watching Prank Panel until they don't make Prank Panel anymore.
Are these 20-minute episodes, 40-minute episodes,
Man, so they do 2 pranks in the episode. So I'm guessing this is probably like a 40-minute thing. It's probably an hour on actual TV with commercials.
On Hulu.
I've been watching on Hulu, yeah, so it's streamlined. So I say if you're into pranks and you like what Johnny Knoxville and Eric Andre do, you know what their brand is going to be. You know the kind of things you're getting yourself into. There's been nothing gross because it's a network TV show, but it's been funny. So that's Prank Panel. The last thing I have is Righteous Gemstones. I haven't seen this week's episode, this past one, which just came out, which is a shame because I usually watch it the day of release. But I'd like to talk about the most recent episode. It was a flashback episode, and they had kid actors playing the main characters, playing Danny McBride, playing Judy. The kid playing Danny McBride is phenomenal.
He would have to.
He looks kind of like him, but he talks just like him, stands just like him. And the moral of the episode is basically Judy got picked on at school, and the boy she was crushing on cut her hair, and he goes back to get vengeance for his sister by the end of the episode. And you sort of just see what they're like growing up and what their relationships are. And the main actors aren't in the entire episode, only John Goodman, and he's playing himself, of course, but like 20 years ago. It's great. Whoever is directing those kids is getting the Danny McBride out of them. They're getting the Judy out of them, and it's adding to this already rich lore in a very interesting way, where they're they're able to hop around this timeline and give us more from the Gemstone family because these actors are believable. It doesn't take you out of the show. It's not stupid. It's well directed, well written, and well acted. I can't recommend Righteous Gemstones enough. I know I've said it for 3 seasons now. Drew, I know you were getting caught up. Are you still on your quest to get caught up on Gemstones, or did it fall off the radar?
Yes, I'm not there yet. But I plan to.
How do you like Adam Devine and his friend?
In the show? Oh no, I haven't watched any of the show yet.
Oh, you haven't watched any of it?
No.
Just when you get started, Adam Devine is the youngest brother, and
Adam Devine's great in this show.
He has this friend who's always with him, who's like an ex-Satanist, ex-homosexual, ex-rave, drug dealer, drug user. He's just this absolutely bizarre, very meek, strange character who's always just standing next to Adam Devine's character, and he's just this weird country guy. I think you're gonna love him. He's one of those like instant cult classic side characters where I don't know what he would ever be in, and I don't know what he would ever do besides this role in this show, and he's great.
I think Adam Devine's hilarious. Yeah, I've seen some of the show. I like it. I really do need to set some time aside to watch this.
For the record, the episode that you were talking about, Gary, with the kids, it looks like it was directed by David Gordon Green, who most recently directed the newest Halloween trilogy, Halloween, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. That he collaborated, Danny McBride collaborated with him on those, but he's also done, Pineapple Express and Your Highness and directed those. So has a good rapport with the people involved in the show, and a decent comedy director in his own right too. So it's worth noting because you asked who directed it, and it's David Gordon Green, who's quite well known.
Great job. Whatever Danny McBride's doing over at his production studio. I know he's been making these silly HBO shows for a while, but they just keep getting better and better. They're less silly and just a lot deeper and a lot more meaningful. So I like it, man. I like Righteous Gemstones. I told you guys I had 3 fresh ones. That's it for me. Meet the Chimps, Prank Panel, and Gemstones. That's all I got this week, fellers.
Excellent. Hey, it sounds like we're all done with our fresh picks. Hey, thank you everyone for listening to Fresh Out the Podcast. I have been the Board Game Guru and Game Master Extraordinaire Johanan. You can find me at RockFact on Twitter, but also check out my Linktree for my Blue Sky and my Threads.
It's me, Casualty CDG, and you can find me at Casualty CDG, or you can't find me at all. I'll be playing Exo Primal, and that's that for me.
I am Drew Munhausen at Drew Munhausen on Twitter. Thank you, Jahan, for sending me that Blue Sky invite. I did start to create my account, but I haven't done anything with it, so I can't give the official find me there yet because there's nothing there to find really other than me with no is there a term for Blue Sky entries? Are they tweets? Are they what is there a term, Jahan? You might know more than me.
I think it's skywriting. No,
skywriting.
I don't actually know.
Clouds?
I just made that up. We're sending out blues.
No thoughts there yet in general, but maybe soon.
Yeah, what you said sounded like a country song. There's nothing there but
I'm supposed to see Oppenheimer tomorrow, so maybe some Oppenheimer thoughts there soon.
That it true? Did you say your name?
That's it.
Okay.
That's Drew Munhausen at Drew Munhausen on Twitter. That's it. This is episode 95.
We did it.
Fresh Out the Podcast.
We did the thing.
We did it.
Yeah, we did it.
We're 5 episodes away from 100.
Oh man, that's crazy.
We also have a tabletop role-playing show.
Did you not say that earlier, Gary?
It's called Fresh Out the Box.
Fresh Out the Box. All right, we'll see you guys later. Stay fresh.